Mm-hmm. All right, let's get down to business here. It's the following day from the last video, and y'all, I don't know when this will go out, but it's still actually before Thanksgiving here, so happy Thanksgiving, once again. Welcome to part 3 of this unknown Magnavox color television, 19-inch color TV that was a roadside find. And in the previous 2 videos, I introduced this project right after I got it home. And then in the last video, we took the back off and got our first peek inside of it. And maybe determined what the original problem with it was last time it ever played. I'm highly suspicious of a bad failed focus rectifier down here inside the high voltage cage, and I'm hoping that that will actually be right here, maybe what was originally wrong with this TV. And anytime you can find the original problem on an old relic like this, you're ahead of the game. But anyway, upon taking the back off, we found a number of tubes gone to air. The damper tube, the combined vertical oscillator and output, one here in the chroma section, another one back there, and probably the audio output tube here. But we also found a lot of debris in this chassis. So I know a lot of people are itching for, man, check that picture tube. Man, go ahead, and start doing some testing all on this. But that's not the way I work, y'all. What I'm going to do next on this television is we're going to begin just a basic cleanup and chassis excavation, trying to find as much information as we can to determine a model number, chassis number, service number, something we can use to procure accurate service data for this television, because none of the limited Magnavox service information that I have right now even remotely covers this particular chassis. So, since this is a model I have never worked on before, I really want to try to just do a cleanup, which will mean we're going to disassemble it in this video and try to find just as much information lying around as we can, because nothing's crawling in it currently, but it's had a roach infestation in years past that has come and gone, and we got like roach egg sacks and all everywhere in this, up in the cabinet right there, here on the back right there, stuck 2 components in it. And this is in my home now, and it's going to stay in my home if all goes according to plan. And I don't want something, this filthy internally in my home. I don't want any of those boogers to hatch out and, and start, infesting everything else. So I think probably this television had a bad focus rectifier originally, but what it'll take to bring it back after it's sat up for an unknown number of years or even decades is still yet to be discovered. And the best place to start on that is to go ahead and just start pulling it apart. We're going to be careful and try to save as many scraps and all as we can, anything I can find with writing. But we're going to brush this chassis out and vacuum it out, blow it out, whatever we have to do to go ahead and just get this thing cleaned up, and then I might just, we'll probably just stick it all back together and start our checking on it finally. Anyway, this is a very interesting television. It's a 19-inch color television that I thought originally might date back, as new as the 1970s, but I have decided that since it's got virtually an all-tube type chassis in it, this is most likely a 1960s Magnavox. And I'm determined to save it if I can, because it is actually quite fine as far as I'm concerned. Good cabinet, not banged up, dinged up, just roach damage, and this is really about the only imperfection I've found in it right here, other than some of the detailing on the front being rubbed off, but we're not going to worry about that. Some of our detailing right here, but I'm using this television basically to change formats on this channel and really try to teach people who have never done this before how at least I go about bringing back, reviving and saving old relics like this. Because a lot of Gen X grew up with TVs like this, and they are retro, and they are collectible to some. And I am in that category. I am among those that TVs like this are collectible to. So, without further ado, we're going to get into chassis excavation on an unknown 1960s all-tube, in quotes, 19-inch Magnavox color television. Hope y'all hang around, and hope y'all enjoy. Okay, turn back around here, honey. I want to point out again that we have a bonded faceplate on the screen of this television, which shows absolutely no sign of cataract forming anywhere. None of the bonding material between the faceplate and the actual screen of the television appears to be rotted on this one yet, causing a cataract that just makes them look so ugly and creeps in toward the center, usually just leaving a little circle of a clear screen in the middle. And finding picture tubes from this era in this condition, that is really pretty rare. That's a pretty rare condition for this. I'm going to start by, we've got a plug-in convergence panel here, and you want to be very careful, since it's circuit board, about unplugging these things. But we're going to go ahead and get it out of the way. If you roughhouse these plugs, unplugging them and plugging them back in, you can end up with cracked solder joints on the reverse side of the circuit board. And that's not good for anybody, so we want to try to avoid that. Mind you, I'm going to inspect it all ultimately, but if you look, you'll see that it's actually soldered. The circuit board is actually soldered here, And there's no access to the back really, so it'll have to be unsoldered just to get this board out, just to inspect all of that. But that's for later. But that's where we start. And then we get into the really fun job. TV's built this way, of trying to remove the tuning and control cluster. So we're going to just pull these knobs off. That's kind of a strange feature right here. I don't know if that's anchoring anything or not. I want to be very careful with these knobs. They are brittle and they will crack if you're not careful removing them. It's also kind of highly unusual to find knobs that are not cracked right where they slip onto the shaft and make them loose on the shaft, but not seeing any of that. Some Magnavox TVs actually have metal knobs on them, but they're plastic on this one, so we want to be careful. Just going to grab all of that, the backing and everything, and pull that. And right there, if you notice, even without flipping the tuner, right here I removed the channel indicator actuator. Say that 3 times fast. Channel indicator actuator. And that'll have to be realigned when we go back, because now the dial can turn just totally free and fall around free. Got a handy dandy paper bag here that I'm just going to use to start anything with writing. Goes into this bag. Anything with no writing, like this cork right here, I'll put that all to, well, you know where that needs to go. Ooh, we got more scraps down here. Roaches had virtually torn up all of the labeling inside the back of this television. But I'm hoping they didn't eat it all. It's kind of like pieces of a puzzle. If you can find enough pieces of an old puzzle, you can form a full picture. Y'all can't really see what I'm doing, but I can. I'm just picking out every single piece of paper that has any writing on it at all, and I'll be doing that on and along. But now we need to get into all of that. Some televisions have it where the tuning and control clusters plug in, and they make it real nice and easy to just pull out the whole main chassis and leave all that up in there. But this one does not have that. It is all bundled and tied to the chassis. So I want to go ahead and bring y'all in on some of that in more detail. Finding all of the mounting points for a tuner and control cluster can be a nightmare sometimes, because you got all these wires bundled together, and you've got to be very careful. Like up here at these controls, you don't want to have any wires to break off or to damage any of the terminals on any of the controls or the tuners, etc., so forth and so on. While you're doing this, you don't want any mystery wires dangling where you end up wondering, like, where did all that go to? If you have service data, like you should, but we don't, it's not a nightmare, but it can be a nightmare on something where you don't have service data. And y'all, I never had, so much of the time I didn't have service data on what I was working on. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and get that out of the way. Yeah, right here we've got some evidence that this chassis was almost doubtlessly used with console televisions. We might just need to cut that. That's all falling away. You know what? That's what I'll do. We'll just snip this. Okay, and get that out of the way here. Look how long that is, the lead from the tuning to the plug on the chassis for the IF strip. Anyway, you've just got to be damn careful not to dislodge or damage anything while doing this. You need a long reach in this case, and in most cases a 1/4 inch nut driver. And we got one screw right here, and you need to make sure that you keep the screws that went into any part of a television grouped, because thread types will be different. These will be different screws than what you'll find holding the chassis on. These are going to be a different length and sometimes a different thread type. So to avoid future trouble, you want to pay attention to all of that. I'm having a tough time getting a view here. Getting y'all a view. Most of the time you'll find them like in each corner, but not always. Anchoring methods for all of this took on about as many varieties as women's hats once upon a time back in the 50s and 60s. Let's see, it looks like we got another one tucked right there. And like I say, you want to be careful moving all this stuff around. Generally, they're kind of wedged televisions with this traditional design. Everything's kind of wedged way up in here, kind of tight in a dark hole. You're just always working in a shadow. And okay, so we got two loose right there, and that does not sound believable to me one bit. It would seem to me that there would be one more somewhere, but all I am seeing right now is two. I might have to inspect this more because it is still very firmly anchored. And I am seeing only those two screws directly across from each other. So, this is where some of this stuff can get aggravating. You don't always have this, but it looks like here we do, that the twin lead running to the terminals, antenna terminals on the back cover, also actually plug into the tuners. So I'm going to take advantage of that and go ahead and get some more of this out of the way. And all right. And you want to be careful again about these plugs. You want to be very, very careful about them. Oh boy, there's just nothing left of that speaker, but look at all the scraps of paper that are left down in there. But so far, nothing is feeling loose up here. All right, that fell down. Let's see if I can get down here in the bottom and feel around, and found it. Okay. And of course that has to fall down there in a very not so easy to access location. I'm also noticing the way the speaker's mounted in this. You have to be careful about that in these old televisions, trying to preserve the speaker mounts when you have to replace or otherwise remove and remount a speaker, because they didn't exactly make it where you could work that a whole lot. Those nuts you're seeing there are screwed basically onto brittle plastic at this point that would just love to break out and leave us with a situation where a replacement speaker would be just dangling loose inside the cabinet, or rattling because no way to tighten it up. Oh boy, that's tight, by the way. Try. Oh boy, did they solder that on there? Did they actually? Oh, come on now. That's no fair. That is no fair. That is not service friendly for signal substitution and troubleshooting. That is supposed to plug in into an RCA plug and be easy to unplug, so you can just feed a substitute test signal in right here. But they soldered they soldered that. All right. But now back up here to the main event. Let me pull back out here. Do y'all see any other screws up in here? I don't. And it is still firmly anchored up here. Nothing there. And notice I'm not roughhousing any of this. Trying not to get impatient, but there's nothing there. Gonna end up with stuff stuck to you all over the place. Nice little bit of bundling tape there. Okay. Am I about to do a whole video here for just removing a tuning and control cluster? In some rare cases, they did actually partially mount. Some televisions would have this partially mounted from the front, but I didn't see any sign of that. Guess I'm going to have to look again. All right. What about these curious looking doohickeys right here? Huh. Let's see, can I get in there with a needle nose? They got two catches in them. Something to make me have to twist my pliers. Okay, let me grab regular pliers, but I'm very loath to maybe risk scratching any of this up any more than it already is, because when the knobs are on, they just ever so slightly conceal these suckers. Okay. Let's see, regular pliers. Where are we? There we are. Okay. I hope you turn. Don't make me have to fight now. Come on. Let's not get into a fight. Ooh. That did not move at all. What about this one? I'm not going to try very hard right at the moment. There we go. All right, that one turned, unfortunately. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Falling loose now. Maybe I've seen this design before, and maybe I haven't. I've probably worked on televisions that have this design before, but I just didn't have to pull the tuning and control cluster out of those, so I never noticed. Oh gosh, see, that's starting to scratch just a little bit right there already, and this sucker right here is tight. Can I just barely grip it? And come on. Oh gosh. Ooh. Oh yeah, but that's it. That's it. You go looking and looking and looking, and then it turns out, since our knob for the brightness control was missing, it's the answer is something that was staring us in the face right from the beginning. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna hang on to them and I will replace them, but I will put them back. But Lord have mercy, this one right here is tight. Tight as it can be. My pliers are slipping. Ooh. Doggone, it's tightening up even more. It's feeling like it might actually be cross-threaded on there. But once I get this off, they'll have us. Okay. Let me see if I can do this without inflicting any carnage here. You never see so many TVs from back in this era to where you've seen it all, y'all. This is the first time I don't remember another time I've had to go through something like this to drop a tuning and control cluster. But here we go. I'll take that out, and then probably when we come back, this will finally be loose. For sure, there was a special tool for this, but I sincerely doubt that it's something you would pick up at Home Depot or Lowe's or Tractor Supply. Most tools like this that would go into collar nuts like this, you would buy, the shaft would still be in the way when you try to use them. So I'm going to improvise my redneck method. I'm going to reach around behind the television, twist my back, And I'm going to push this thing forward and get as much of a little gap right there as I can, so that I can keep these pliers off of the S-cushion here while wrestling this sucker off. And it still don't want to move. There we go. Is that it? Oh, thank you. Thank you. What did they do? Put Loctite on that or something? Wow. Come on. All right, now the tuning and control cluster has fallen back. And this is still, it must have a retainer or something on it back there because it is still hanging in there. Wow. Okay. But anyway, now I can reach up here and oh gosh, come on. Out of the way, out of the way. Oh, look at there. I unmounted the volume controlling switch. Oh, that is just... You know what happened? This right here was holding the volume controlling switch, and this nut screwed off the volume controlling switch rather than let the collar nut turn loose. I tell you, it's an adventure, y'all. It's an absolute adventure. We never get past. There's our VHF dial. Looking a little warped. We'll have to re-glue that, assuming this hunk all works out. But all right. Let's see how much of that the video actually caught. I could have done a whole video just on dropping the tuning cluster out of this. Oh, well done, Magnavox. You're making for a damn interesting video so far. A damn interesting series of videos. Oh, you got to laugh, y'all. Sometimes, as the English say, you have to laugh. Oh, yeah. This is what it's all about. There it is. There it is. Just go ahead and stay behind. Oh, my gosh. So I've still got this battle to win, but I'm going to put that off to later if you don't mind. That's a damn interesting way of doing this. I am glad I have not run across this before. This one was a new one on me, y'all. Never seen that before. The mounting nuts for the controls, this is usually, you know, the standard norm, what you find. They use that on each side at the top. Brightness control and the volume control and switch. And it unscrewed from the volume controlling switch before unscrewing from for letting that collar loose. So I want to go ahead and inspect this. Did we do any damage? Doesn't look like we did. Volume control and switch still looks to be very much intact and undamaged. And let's see if I can get it up here. I'll try. All right, still turns free, and on, off, pull it out, on. Okay. That's amazing. That is amazing. Now we can turn our attention to the speaker. Now for the first time clearly visible down here. Check out this opening right here. It looks like some people might think this would be where like a little piezo tweeter or something was mounted. This is actually where they would have mounted, and you can see the shadow of it from the front of the television. This is where a microphone would have been mounted for an ultrasonic remote. Y'all, right here above the speaker, they would have had the microphone for an old clicker or electronic ultrasonic remote mounted right here above the speaker for models that had remote control. I'm not going to try to remove the speaker at this point, but we can see what I was talking about earlier about the way that's mounted. These nuts right here, I'm living in fear that I'm going to get the chassis out before I even attempt it, because you see they're kind of like the collar nuts on the controls we just looked at, except they just screw onto these plastic studs. So it's like in a lot of televisions like this, it's like you have they're designed for 2 speakers, in their lifetime. You change out the original, and they left provision for you to mount 1 replacement if these suckers right here break off when you try to unscrew these, as they very commonly can and often will do. But looks like we got plugs here on our speaker, and it's soldered on our output transformer, or it could have been plugged into the output transformer. Right here, they left spade terminals on the audio output transformer. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and unplug from the speaker here. Hey, look, that actually went easy. That actually went easy. All right, we were due for something to go easy here. It's getting dark earlier and earlier now, and I was thinking by now I would have had the chassis outside in the sun, and had the opportunity, to like thoroughly, go through it in the sunlight and blow the trash and all out of it. But look at there. Sun's already fast getting gone today, and it's because we had to we went through all of this just to get the tuning and control cluster out. I guess I'm kind of glad this happened, because now for any doubters who would have said, that, oh man, those things come out easy. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at what this one just put me through. Okay, up here they chose to use countersink number 2 Phillips screws for the user adjustments, and chromatone. Our Magnavox has chromatone. So, anyway, next thing we want to do, we got more wire bundling here. I'll replace this with zip ties. all that right there we can do away with. But next thing I want to do is unplug the deflection yoke, and I want to unplug that from right there. Unplug our degaussing coil from right here. And I've already noticed something about that, but I can't really show you. I don't think the camera will catch it, but check the degaussing. Okay, let's try that again now that I've got all of that removed. I did a nice little narration there and then discovered that I'd accidentally turned the camera off. Batting 1,000 today. Instead of the kind of degaussing system that a lot of people nowadays are used to, and I've seen this before, like on Sears Silvertone and all, and they are kind of popular in areas I've lived, and I've done a lot of Sears work. But instead of having a coil going all the way around the picture tube, we got coil capsules here. And most of the time, others I've seen with this arrangement would have 4, but it appears this one just has 2 coil capsules, one up here at the top, and another one we can just maybe barely see. Yeah, there you are. Down here at the bottom. Going around, mounted on a band that goes all the way around the picture tube. And that's kind of a neat system right there. And even if you're just into stripping these old televisions down, you can find some excellent magnet wire in these old coil capsules like this. And it's already kind of neatly, you know, wound up on a spool, and just, you know, very handy to use. But I thought I'd point that out while we're into pulling all this out, as the sun keeps sinking lower and lower in the sky, and my hopes of getting this chassis out in the sun to really go over it and everything today just keeps sinking with the sun in the sky. So anyway, what do we have left? The deflection yoke, the degaussing coil, everybody's favorite. Oh, people love this. Our high voltage lead to the picture tube. Since it's been dormant forever, we can go ahead and unclip that. If I can keep from turning the camera off again. Let everybody kind of get a look at those who haven't ever seen how that works before. Our second anode voltage, the way it just plugs into that aquadag right here, or snaps in rather. I don't know if I've got a newer type insulator for this, but don't necessarily have to replace these, but I might go ahead and replace this at some point, assuming this television works out. But now I can finally get down to pulling the chassis. So we'll just gently unplug our Delta System picture tube here. Got some more retainer right here, some exhibiting some remains of and not even remains, we've still got fully formed. Oh yeah, this stuff right here is gonna go. So I tell you what, we'll go ahead and we'll just snip that. Be careful, note the position of stuff like this though in old televisions, y'all. Sometimes wires are held up like this, you know, to avoid interference in the picture, you know, when you see them kind of tied up and suspended like that. It's partially to dress them away from arcing points, but like right here, the focus wire, but Sometimes, especially in old televisions from the 50s and all, you can, if you don't pay attention to the way the wires are dressed when you're pulling one apart, you can end up with some interference in your picture when you go back together with them. So anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll clip this. Notice the kind of material in old TVs they use. Basically, you know, I wonder if this stuff was really flame retardant, you know, back then. But okay, we got all that out of the way, and now I can unplug everything else. Picture tube, high voltage, deflection yoke, degaussing coil, and we ought to finally be able to get the chassis out of this. Since my eyes just landed on it. And I do enjoy this process of, this initial process of discovery on new projects. Look at the way they shave the cabinet here to get the high voltage cage or the Faraday cage to fit in. Look at how well, no clearance actually. They had to shave it. Don't know. I don't know if Magnavox, I think for a while they made their own cabinets, but at this point they might have been farming that out. And so you know, think about it from a manufacturing standpoint. You know, you get these cabinets, and then when you go to install the chassis, it doesn't quite fit, so you have to do a little cabinet modification, building the television originally to get the chassis to fit. I think this television, given that it's all tube, would be from the mid to latter 60s. I don't think this one would date quite as new as 1970, but if we can find the information on it, we'll hopefully, before it's all over, know for sure, be able to assign a definite year to this. But that's just kind of interesting to me. I get sidetracked on a lot when I'm doing all this, so let me go ahead and move on as I talk. Dare I actually break this disassembly, just the basic disassembly, up into multiple parts? After our tuning and control cluster fiasco, the later and darker it gets, I'm thinking I do. If I'm going to be true to my word and do this channel for beginners who have never ever done this before, I think I actually dare to break this up into two parts. Right here, I don't know if y'all can see it from where y'all are, but we got a retainer right here that was originally screwed onto the deflection yoke bracket that was securing part of this wire harness. So I've got to undress the wires to the yoke plug from it. And now, finally, at long last, unscrew the chassis and try to just pull the chassis out of this sucker. And I'm supposed to have a 1/4-inch nut driver handy here, a short one somewhere. The chassis is just held in by long 1/4-inch screws underneath. Maybe I can just lean it forward with this stubby driver and get on those and get those out. And oh boy, that particle board cabinet floor is, oh my gosh, that is, look at that. Well, y'all can't see it, but oh gosh, look at that, how dried out and just flaking apart that is. The cardboard down here is absolutely littered with it. If I'm doing this channel for beginners though, I think I really need to save the chassis excavation for another video because I want to be out in the sun when I do that. It's not just important for the video and for all of you, it's important to me because sunlight is the best light in the world to work in, especially when you're trying to just initially inspect something. So I think I'm actually going to do what I didn't believe I would have done in the beginning of this. Break this into two parts. Two more, maybe. And we will finally have the chassis out of this sucker. And purely for the sake of the video, I can take y'all along for the ride and we'll see what we can uncover out in the sunlight. Getting all of this initial inspection done. Just long 1/4 inch screws. Nothing much to see here. Let's see, got some 5/16 under here, looks like. Are they 5/16 that originally held the, yeah, they're 5/16 that originally held the feet for the cabinet, but there's just practically no wood here anymore for, oh gosh, oh my gosh, look at how flimsy that is. I think I'm going to have to, before it's over, just unmount all this. I'm going to try not to break it, but I think I'm just going to have to buy some plywood and put a new floor into the cabinet of this television. Wow, that's just age. You know, it doesn't even look like it's had moisture or anything to get to it. It is just old particle board cabinet floor and it is flaking all to pieces. Will the cabinet finally come out, or will the chassis finally come out of here? There we are. Finally, at long last. Let me get y'all in here so y'all can see the last plug that I need to unplug to get this out. Right here behind the high voltage cage, right there. This is the plug for the convergence yoke on the picture tube. And there we are. Finally removed from the cabinet. But we have got trash galore down in here. A lot of stuff like this that I want to try to preserve and for information maybe and save. It is just really yeah, It deserves another video to just clean the chassis. I'm going to have to take this shield off of the VIF strip and clean all of that out and go through the cabinet and maybe find some remnants of a model number, service number, chassis number. But what I was talking about a while ago, look at this. Y'all aren't really seeing it, but that is just, call it what it is. Cheap shit. That's what it is, y'all. Oh Lord, it's already broke. Here at the corner, it is broke. That settles it. This television's gonna have to have another cabinet floor. If I'm careful when I remove this one, I can use this one as a pattern and match the thickness, and that'll be no big deal. But there we are. Finally. We could have gotten so much further today if not for the tuner. That booger right there, really. That's what we get into in this old stuff. We always see something we've never seen before. And I've probably seen it, like I said, but other televisions that had this arrangement, mounting and securing all of this, I never had to drop the cluster assemblies. So there we are. Chassis finally removed. And it is dark again. I got a late start today. I had some errands to run and excuse me. Had some errands to run and didn't get started on this early enough to allow for there to still be sunlight enough to do this, but I'm thinking I'll probably end up wanting to point out for the beginners out there a whole lot more about this as I'm cleaning it up. So in preparation for that, we're just going to wait and hope for the sun to shine tomorrow and give a good opportunity to really go through all of this properly the way we should, and then we'll have another video. I don't know, we might go ahead and test the picture tube. I know some people out there are just itching, to go ahead and see some things tested in this, and I'm itching myself about this deal right here. Oh, look at that flyback. Look at that flyback. That. Hugely concerned about that sucker right there, but it is looking good. It is looking good. And that is looking like a melted down selenium focus rectifier diode. But that might be the smoking gun that took this thing out of service, but we won't know until we go through all the rest of it looking for any other clues we can find. And I want sunlight to do that. So, hope y'all aren't too pissed off at me. But I'm liking this new format, just showing y'all really everything that's involved in all of this. So a lot of people, like I said, they watch other videos where people start out with a junk TV at the beginning and they have just, they show enough, to be interesting, but they have a playing television at the end, and they do not really, go into, because they don't have time. You can't do like 4-hour YouTube videos, but I want to show everything that is really, truly involved in trying to revive a total unknown like this. And I won't say again, this television is owing me nothing. It might not even work out. I'm taking a huge risk on YouTube, actually. I guess trying to show all this on a television. I don't even know if I can ever make this sucker play again or not. I have no idea about the condition of the picture tube. This is looking good, but hugely fingers crossed on that. A lot can still go wrong here to totally arrest this project, and you know, it just is what it is, y'all. But I feel like the method I'm using on this is sound and thorough, and I think there's a lot for people to get out of this, you know, regardless of how it ultimately turns out. So I'm confident right now that this television will play again, but nonetheless, I want to share the experience with y'all, even if it doesn't. But anyway, y'all take care of each other out there, and find something like this, some piece of junk to tear into and have fun with, because this really is enjoyable to me. I love this process of the initial discovery, and I'm happy to share it with y'all. YouTube is becoming really fun for me now, so thank you all for subscribing and putting up with all of this, and hopefully some people are tuning in to watch and learn how to do this on maybe an old family heirloom or whatever. But anyway, until next time, y'all take care out there, and next time we will definitely get into chassis excavation and inspection. Thank you all again. Take care of each other. Be good. Like you always are. Brooks Hobby Shop. We're out.